Around by YouTube, it's Charles here with another edition of Comics and Talk, where I bag up some comics. I've been gifted a bunch of them from my friend Steve from his old collection, and I just talk a little bit. It's informal, there's really no structure, just talking about the love of comics and seeing what I got. The gift he gave me was two long boxes of comics. So I am going to be bagging these up for a while. I think I've done like 4 of these videos already, and I still have like a box and a half of comics to get through. Some of them are bagged, some of them are boarded, but not all. So I'm going to see what I have, as well as bag up what needs to be bagged. And just the bonus, what I read today. This is new stuff I read. I read the Vampirella Halloween Horror one shot. This was a great book. I actually plan on doing a review of it real soon. But if you can get a hold of it, still grab it. It's actually a story that is not really a Halloween thing. It's just a great one-off story about she finds out that a bunch of kids in New York are going missing, and she finds out that an angel is behind it, and the whole twist and everything, mind-blowing stuff, very hip stuff. I read Rat City, kind of a futuristic take on the Spawn universe, and I've read Bronze Faces #6 from Boom Comics. This has been one of my favorite books. It's really about cultural repatriation and a Robin Hood story. This group of Nigerian siblings that when they try to buy their father's art back from the British Museum, they get iced out. And so they make it their mission to steal back their father's art. But what happens is they discover a list of other African art that has been pilfered. And so they, expand their focus. And very hip stuff. So let's talk about what we got here, starting with a book I never heard of. It's from Image Comics. I am a huge Image guy. And the great thing about this right here is I started reading comics in 2019. So a lot of this older stuff I'm just not hip to. And if I am hip to it, I've gotten into it real late. Oh, and by the way, the music in the background is a Isaiah Collier and the Chosen Few concert that they did for KEXP. Loved them. I actually got my friend hip to Isaiah Collier's most recent album, and he flipped out. Being a musician nerd, we love getting our friends hip to stuff like that. And he's already talking about transcribing a few of the solos off of that album. So anyway, back to the comics. Deadly Duo #1, Image Comics. What year was this put out? It was put out in 1994. It looks pretty contemporary though. Look at this cover. And it's in tremendous shape. And this is cool. Look at the back here. This is something I might have to get a hold of. It is a crossover between the Shadowhawk and Vampirella. I might have to check Nucadia.com, see if I can get me an old copy of this. I love Vampirella, especially if I can get a hold of some older stuff. Yeah, there's no description or preamble, so I'm just going to have to dig into this to find out what it's about. But it's a very hip looking comic. Lots of action. It is written by Eric Larson, and the penciler is Andy Smith. Inker is Randy Elliott, and the letterer is Chris Elopoulos. And the colorists are Ruben Rude, Antonia Cole, and Bill Zandel. So we have issue #1 from 1994, Image Comics, bagged and boarded. that down here. Then we have Deadly Duo number 2, Image Comics, bagged and boarded. I love that when I come across some sequential books I can get into the universe. Again, this also, man, great condition. This looks like something you could buy off the shelf today.
What else you got for us? His next piece of performance is dedicated to the event that transpired on January 6th in our nation's capital was stormed.
That is a good looking book.
Single-handedly, almost utterly represented the complete and typical patriotic.
That right here. And then we have
Composition is something titled
Deadly Duo number 1, an alternate cover it looks like, featuring Spawn. And we also have an alternate cover of number 2 again, it looks like. Interesting. Hey, is this an alternate, or is this from a separate series? Oh, okay. Yeah, this is not an alternate cover. This is from 1995. So it's a different volume of the Deadly Duo. And I guess I could suppose that this is a continuation of that, this next one. I love the Spawn cover. Let's see here. And we have Deadly Duo number 2 from Image Comics. This one is not boarded, it's just bagged. In pristine condition as well. So what to talk about today? I do turn 47 on Thursday, and that has me very retrospective. If you don't know, I am disabled. I have a chronic leg injury that actually put me out of the workforce and gives me constant pain and caused other health issues, including mental health issues that thankfully I did a lot of therapy and different things to improve, but I still take antidepressants, no shame in that. But that's actually a big part of what shaped the creation of this channel is one of the outlets I turn to. We got the Deadly Duo number 3, no board, another advertisement on the back for the Vampirella crossover with Shadowhawk. But yeah, that's what got me to led me to create this channel. Is when I got injured, I needed something to set my mind to, something to stimulate my mind, and something to look forward to, and that became collecting. Okay, now this is back to that first volume, so this is number 3 from volume 1, 1994. So I got into collecting action figures. That came out of my fandom of professional wrestling. I bought a Brock Lesnar in a discount rack, and it really got me into the hobby. And not even so much, I know people think that collecting is about the purchase, but for me, the purchase is almost the saddest part of collecting, because that means that the hunt is over. By the hunt, I mean trying to find not only something that you want, something that you've been anticipating, but finding it at the best price and in the best condition you can. And so that's the part that really stimulates the mind, is the hunt and the anticipation. And collecting action figures got me into collecting comics. We got Deadly Duo. Number 3. Let's see what year this is from. But yeah, One Day Out on an Action Figure Hunt. This is from 1995, so this is that second volume. And it is not bagged or boarded. But I stumbled across the comic book shop, and I purchased a couple of issues of Black Dynamite, and then got me going back and getting into more back issues, and eventually getting into the modern comic books. And the first few comics I got into were from Dynamite Comics. I love comic books with strong female protagonists. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. And I'm not gonna try to, I think a lot of people, they try to sugarcoat or try to excuse their like of these protagonists by some kind of feminism or something like that. For me, yeah, there's a bit of that, but mostly it's because I like hot women with swords or guns beating people up. It's not that deep, y'all. And so I got into books like Vampirella, Red Sonja, Jennifer Blood, Deja Thors, and all of this stuff led to titles like Chastity, Harley Quinn. That was one of the first major comics I got into. But yeah, then I started getting into the newer stuff. Really fell in love with Image Comics, the Spawn universe, and I was really big into Marvel for a while. And now my reading habits, they go from everything from action to, social commentary stuff like Ron's Faces, science fiction stuff like Rat City, a little bit of everything. Horror. If you're not reading it, you have to check out Exquisite Corpses from Image Comics. It is probably one of the best things going in horror right now. But that's the cool thing about comics is, the most I knew about comics, we got Deadly Duo, number 4. And this is from 1995. It's not bad. The most I knew about comics is what I saw on the television show Big Bang Theory. I didn't even know that they were really still in print until I stumbled across that shop. I mean, it shows you how naive I am, but I think a lot of us think of comic books as a relic of the past, but they are just as relevant today, and they're in every single genre you could think of. Now we're getting to some old stuff here. Some appreciated. I call it appreciated. A lot of people say it's in bad condition. But to me, it's kind of like I developed this saying about my Bible. I always said I don't trust a man with a pristine Bible because he doesn't open it. And so when I come across a comic book that may not be in the best condition, I see that as a plus because it has been thoroughly enjoyed and used for its purpose. And this right here is a thoroughly enjoyed issue of Batman, number 336. 50 cents price tag on it, so I'm gonna say it's probably from the 70s maybe. It has some marking in it. 1981. So this is just 3 years younger than me. Has that little pulpy paper feel to it. The inside pages are in great condition, outside of the marking on it. The cover is beat up. It got some minor tears, a lot of bends, but it's still readable. And that's the important part for me. I ain't gonna get it and tuck it away, never to be enjoyed again. But yeah, no, back to my original topic of conversation, talk about my disability. Um, yeah, after I, got developed, I developed a lot of issues, but collecting was one of the things that got my head right. And sharing that joy with people that may be going through something, be it disability or otherwise, is what inspired me to do this. Because irregardless, YouTube channel or not, I'm still going to be reading comic books and collecting action figures. But I want to show people that, first and foremost, comic books still being made, still cutting edge, still new stuff, still relevant. And it's a great way to get your mind off of, stressors. So that's why I do this. And yeah, another one that has been thoroughly enjoyed, Spider-Man and Machine Man, number 99, looks like from the same era, 1980, November. Get this in a bag. But yeah, the first thing I noticed about being disabled is that it is so boring. When you're used to working 5 to 6 days a week, my day used to consist of, waking up, getting my meals in me, my 3 meals a day, working 8 to 10 hours, video gaming a lot more hours, and it was like I couldn't find enough time in the day to fill up with what I wanted to do. And when I became disabled, all I had was time. Because even, the mobility and activity level that I was able to achieve was so short. And that even the stuff that I had time for that I wanted to do, I couldn't do physically. And so that was a big frustration for me. But it doesn't matter if I wake up in a lot of pain or a little pain. If I wake up fairly mobile or immobile, I can always go to the internet and see what's new in action figures and comics. I can always hunt down these things, bookmark them, purchase them, read them, enjoy them no matter what condition I'm in. So I really, that's why I really love collecting. I'm going to see if I can't find a board to put in this. I have some boards, but they are not the proper size, so I'm going to have to cut them. All my extra boards are slightly too big, but I'll do that later. I don't want to bore you guys cutting up boards. Next we have, looks like a graphic novel or a trade paperback of some sort. X-Men, what is it? Rarities. X-Men Rarities. Looks fairly modern. I'd say maybe early 2000s. Let's see if I'm right. Nope, 1995. Marvel Comics, of course. You get a look at some of the pages here, it does look fairly modern. And the cool thing is that these hobbies have, got me into other things, other passions. And for instance, one of the first things that went when I became disabled was my health, because with the leg injury I couldn't move as I wanted. So I would sit around and I'd watch TV and I would snack. And I got big. I got very big. I'm big now, but I was a lot bigger about 6 months into being disabled. There's a YouTube video on my personal channel of me playing a jazz gig. We were playing for the local festival. And for some reason, I was wearing a bright orange shirt. And I had my bass. And the bass is a relatively big bass, but it looked like a violin on me. And with the bright orange shirt and my size, I look like the Kool-Aid Man. I can laugh about it now, but I was about a good 75, 80 pounds heavier than I am now. And at least now I have some shoulders on me because I work out now. But yeah, back then it was like I had no shoulders, the traps not there. It was just skinny shoulders and a bowl. Yeah, it got me into exercising and lifting weights, and I developed a routine that I do 6 days a week. It involves probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours of lifting dumbbells, and I try to get, my goal is I want to get to where I can do an hour on my stationary bike a day. I've been averaging out 40 minutes, which by the end of it, I'm pretty beat up. Today I was only able to get 30 minutes. But what got me into exercising, again, was my love of professional wrestling. And in the internet age, you know, back when I first started, you never knew anything about the person behind the character. But now you can follow these guys on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Blue Sky. And a big part of what they do is weight training and exercising. And I saw what a lot of these guys are doing. I'm like, well, I can either do that myself or I can adapt it to my disabilities. And so I started buying free weights. I bought a couple of 20-pound dumbbells, a couple of 30s, then I bought a couple of 40s, then I got a couple of 35s. Over the summer I got some 25s and a couple of 60-pound dumbbells. Then I got a weight bench. But slowly but surely I started adding up what I could do, and I started very basic with the routines I used to do in high school, what I could remember. But then as I got stronger and developed more mobility, I started expanding what I did, and then I started putting together different sessions. So I have a 3-day split, I guess you would call it, where like right now what I'm doing is Mondays I do chest and triceps. So Mondays and Thursdays, presses, extensions, things like I said, chest, triceps. Tuesdays and Fridays I've been doing shoulders. And then Wednesday and Saturday I do back and biceps. And then when I first started I couldn't do core exercises like leg lifts, extensions, sit-ups. And I recently gained the ability to do those over the summer. So I do those every day because my core is still not as strong as the rest of my upper body. And I try to do unweighted leg movements as much as I can without hurting myself. But I've been able to, I actually got my diabetes reversed. And lost a couple of pounds, even though that's not the goal. I added a lot more muscle to my frame, and that all started from nerd stuff, from watching wrestling and following wrestlers on Instagram. And then I even incorporate comics into my workouts, like, you know, on the exercise bike. You're not using your hands. At least not the one I have, so I read comic books. And that actually helps distract me from the pain of pedaling. And I get my daily comic book reading in. So, and, you know, 47, I'm not where I planned on being. We got Wolverine from October. I'm not seeing a number here. This is in pristine condition despite not being bad. It was $1.95 when it came out, so I'm going to say it's from the early 90s. But yeah, despite not being where I wanted to be career-wise and life-wise, I've made a pretty good life for myself. You know, being disabled and hopefully I'm giving some people some encouragement and some joy and some light through my frustrations. Hopefully, that's my goal. 1995. Because, I think that's what life is about, is putting a smile on somebody else's face. You do that, I think you're doing alright. I've done more talking than comics on this one. We got a crossover. No, it's not. It's Lobo the Duck. Okay, I don't think it's a crossover. It's something. It's from Amalgam Comics. Interesting. It's in great condition. Yeah, I thought it was some kind of Howard the Duck and Lobo crossover, but okay, yeah, this is from a subsidiary of DC Comics. Interesting. It is in great shape with a bag and board. But yeah, like I mentioned too, I'm a musician. I can't play as much as I wanted to because of my physical constraints. Got Evil Ernie, number 1 of 5. Now I know modern Evil Ernie stuff is from Dynamite Comics, but this is from Chaos Comics, 1995. Looks like a special edition. You open up the cover here and it has a fold out. Oh, and the cover is coffin shaped when you fold it out. That is cool. That is very interesting. But I play music when I can. A lot of my basses are too heavy for me to play on high pain days, so I have a variety of basses. Some lighter than others. Guitar, I can play it most days. On days when I can't, I have a ukulele. Also been improving my piano playing, so I can play that, and my melodica. But as I've stated before in these, I record all my own music for my regular videos, the introduction music and the outro music. That's all me. And that's the cool thing about modern times is, like I said, I'm going on 47, and the first time I recorded was at my buddy's house. He had an 8-track recorder. Yeah, I was in a rap group, and I knew nothing about music. I could rap a little bit, so that's what I did. And the guy that I was in the group with, he wasn't the greatest rapper, but he was a very, very good pianist. And so he arranged all the music, played it on the 4-track. The guy who was doing the recording, he had a drum machine. He did all that stuff. But it was like a whole big to do, and it took forever. And like I have on my iPad, I have what is it called? I can't remember the name of the app, but it's a very, very good recording app. That's where I recorded my themes on. And then I've been using BandLab for a lot of recent recording. This is from Image Comics. It is called Union. It is from 1995. It's in pristine condition too. Never heard of Union. But yeah, it's amazing. I can go on, I went on the internet, and with BandLab, I have more tracks available than I could even use. And, within an hour, I can have an idea and have a multi-track recording using my bass, my guitar, my electric drums, my keyboard, and whatever else I want. Have it recorded. No fuss and no muss. And then I also did some actual recording in professional studios back when I was in college, back in 2001, around that time. And recording technology was a lot more advanced, but it was so expensive. Very expensive. Prohibitively expensive. And in my town, we didn't have too many options, so you had to kind of go with who you had. This is called Backlash. It's number 11. It's from Image Comics, Unbad. But the guy that we had here locally, he did a lot of country recording. And so a lot of his recordings sounded like they were mixed like country recordings. So if you were going to do hip hop or funk or something that required more low end, it was not idea at all. But now, my limitations are only my ability and creativity. And I can mix everything down the way I want it to. I can record for as long as I want to without having to worry about price. Do as many takes as I want to. And everything I record sounds like I want it to. So, I mean, if you would have told 21-year-old me that 47-year-old me could record music, record these videos, listen to music, and watch TV on a tablet, I would have, nah, that's just wild. We have Deathblow versus Gen 13, number 20 from Image Comics. So we can offer any solace, any affirmation, and listening to doing our jobs. And then, like, sitting here watching this concert right here. The first jazz I heard was off of VHS stuff. That was the only time I got to see jazz players. I would either have to hope to run into a VHS in one of my local music stores or order something out of Downbeat magazine. But now it's like, I want to hear Isaiah Collier. So I just type it in to my Roku, and I'm watching them play. Man, I've been at this a while and watched the whole concert. I think there's another concert of the group. And here we go. This is Isaiah Collier and the Chosen Few from March 5th, 2022. Let's see how this one sounds. We have Deathblow, number 21 from Image Comics. Looks like a whole different group, except for Isaiah Collier. And it was recorded at Soapbox Gallery in New York. Getting down to the last few here. We have X-Men Alpha. This looks like some kind of special edition, maybe. Oh, we have the... Nice, we have like a foil cover that extends front to back. That is cool. I love these foil covers. I actually have two or three Batman foil covers that I have displayed. X-Men Alpha, when is this put out here? 1994. Yeah, that's in great condition. I don't see why it wouldn't be. It was going for around $4 back then, so you know that this was well taken care of. That was a pretty penny back then for comic books. I mean, it still is today, but now the things are going anywhere from 4 to 5. When I first started collecting, they were at the most $3.99, but now they're coming out at $4.99 and $5.99. And I'm having to buy less books, but that's okay. I still read a bunch of them. So we have Weapon X, After Xavier, The Age of Apocalypse, April 2nd, from Marvel Comics. From April 1995. Not bagged or boarded, but it is bagged now. In great condition. But I guess the whole point that I want to get to is I think it's important to grow where you're planted. I had a lot of regrets after my injury, and I had no reason to. It was a work injury. I was actually at work early to get caught up because my coworkers at the time, they weren't the most reliable to hold their end of the bargain. So I showed up early to stock the cooler and catch up on the cleaning. And I took an errant step, moving some soda crates. Honestly, I was carrying more soda crates than I should have been. And I heard a loud pop in my knee, and I couldn't walk. And a misdiagnosis and a botched surgery placed on that misdiagnosis made me permanently disabled. And I spent probably the first decade of my disability mourning what I couldn't do and hoping for a life that I couldn't have instead of looking forward to the life that I could have. And it got to a point to where, like, you know, I'm turning 47 Thursday, but at 30 to 35 I had no desire to see this age because I thought my life wasn't worth living because I couldn't do a 9 to 5. And I couldn't be as active as I wanted to. But then after my mom passed, and I was around 40, it was like, life is for the living. You know, you got to get the best out of it that you can because we only get one turn. And so that's when I, like, you know what, I'm just going to try shit. That's my motto, try shit. And I tried action figure collecting, fell in love with it, as you can see. I tried comics, fell in love with it. Got Union, number 8 from Image Comics. I tried weight training as a disabled person. I've been at it for going on probably 5 years now, 6 days a week. Love it. I hate it too because it's hard. I love the results. And it gives you confidence and functional strength as well. And in the last book of this session, Excalibur, After Xavier, The Age of Apocalypse, from June 2nd, presumed 1995. Yep, April 1995, Marvel Comics. So yeah, there is an overarching message. Oh, check this out. Advertising for the movie Candyman. But the message is, just try shit. And don't grieve what you can't do, but celebrate what you can do. try to find joy in everything you put your hands to. And if it doesn't give you joy, don't waste your time on it. And don't ever feel like you have to explain why you're doing what you're doing in this life. Because we only get one. You gotta make the best out of it. And if you're not enjoying your life, it might be because you're not allowing yourself to. You know, just try some shit. Not everything you try will be successful or something that you enjoy. But at least you know that. And I mean, as long as you're learning something, time is never wasted. So that's going to be all the books that I'm bagging now. I'm going to put these with the rest of them that I have bagged up so far. But I think that's the problem why a lot of folks walk around frustrated, is we get this idea of what life is supposed to look like and what we're supposed to be. And I look back at my life, and when I was in my quote-unquote prime, I was doing stuff and putting a lot of investment and time into stuff that I really didn't enjoy. It was just what was expected. So I go out and party. I go out to the bar. I do all kinds of things that I didn't really enjoy, but it was what everybody else was doing, and it was socially acceptable. And I think, you know, now it's like, man, I could have been spending all that money I spent on liquor on comic books. But no regret, you know. Live for the moment. I think I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna get into this Daily Duo. It's a good looking comic book. Start that one tonight. Yeah, we got a lot of Image stuff, a couple of very old DC books, a little bit of Marvel, and a lot of Image. So thank you guys for watching the video. Have a lot more stuff coming up this week. We have the new comic book day unboxing. It's going to be coming out Wednesday. And on my birthday, we're going to be doing a couple of action figure unboxings. For my birthday every year, I allow myself to spend a little bit more on action figures than I usually would. And we got this one. Got that one for myself, the Jamie Hayter Unmatched Series number 9. Gonna be doing an unbox and review of that. And then I happened across an action figure I thought I'd never see, and I had to buy it. It was out of my normal price range, but it was 1 of 5,000 Chase that I've only ever seen online or in person, period, one time. And that is the Chase from this series, the Alex Reynolds, which I have right here. 1 of 5,000. So we're going to be getting an up-close look at these guys on Thursday for my birthday. So I'll see you guys next time. Until then, keep buying them action figures. Keep reading them books. I'm out.